Ladies and gentlemen, after a very, very long time trying to get all four of us now on the same schedule, same page, we're adults now. We got to actually do shit in life. We have welcomed the full Footy Talk group chat to the YouTube channel. Boys, introduce yourselves. Let's get it going.
Sure, I can go first. Matt Prisco, Yanni, thank you so much for having me on the show. The last time we did this, we didn't get to actually record it and post it, but I gave kind of a pretty similar introduction. I got into soccer because my grandfather loved soccer. He was born in Italy and was a Juve fan, so pretty much I started just trying to relate to him and ended up just loving the sport. So as you guys know, so excited to be on this with you all.
I can go next. I am Massimo. Me and Yanni used to be best friends in elementary school before he moved away and left me behind in Boston. But that's a different podcast. I am a Roma fan. Like Matt, I got into soccer because of my family. My dad is from Italy, and I used to watch the Serie A with him on the weekends. I didn't really have a team, and he was a Milan fan, and so to kind of like one day while we were watching, they were playing Roma, and I fell in love with Francesco Totti, who's my favorite player, who's on my wall back there. And so then I just picked Roma, decided to be a Roma fan. And then really the 2006 World Cup like is the first time I watched like a full tournament where I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be addicted to this for the rest of my life. So that's kind of how I got into the sport.
Valid.
So I'm Dave. I've been on here once before. You guys may or may not recognize me. I went to school with Massimo and Yanni, elementary school, little school in North Reading. Kind of mimicking what they both said. Big Serie A fan, been a Milan fan my whole life. I'm Italian. I'm also Portuguese, but I guess gets people very upset that I want Portugal to win this World Cup. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to support them no matter what. It's my family too. Anyhow, yeah, been playing soccer my whole life, and he started this chat about probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. We're just talking footy every day, so I'm glad we're all together here on this channel.
I know, it's awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking that today too. Like we actually do talk like all
It's
day,
every day.
in
Yeah.
that group
Oh, yeah.
chat. It's insane. Like I text you guys more than I text my girlfriend.
Well, brother's about to get in trouble.
She'll probably watch this. So if you're watching, Taryn, it's a joke.
It's a joke. It's all a joke. It's funny
But
because
not really.
No, not really.
I have three or four different, I'll say three different footy chats. And like, I just find myself always like, I'll send one thing and I'll copy and paste it to like every single chat. Now all my chats know this, by the way, but I probably spend more time sending shit in there and like, or in our group chat than like actually contributing to society. So, but hey, it is what it is. But boys, we're here to talk about the biggest tournament in the world that's going on right now, the World Cup. The group stages have officially concluded. Tomorrow we'll conclude the round of 16. Let's talk about obviously the result today, where we were talking about in the chat how one team in yellow was taking a slight piss on the other team from Asia. How do we feel about Brazil and that performance today?
Who wants to go first?
I have a couple thoughts about Brazil. Obviously, they're very good. Okay, I think they're the tournament favorites going in. Just like depth wise, team wise, I think like everybody on paper has them like in the final probably, or like in the top four at least, right? But obviously, with the Neymar injury, things got a little bit complicated. I still can't get a read on them though. I know that I don't know if that's weird to say. I think like until they really come up against somebody, I thought like the Serbia game they looked very good, but this game like we said in the chat, like I was like maybe South Korea is gonna come to play, but most likely they were gonna get routed, and you could tell like pretty early on. I forget when they scored the first goal, like the 7th minute. After that, it was like you could tell this is the first game where I'm impressed by how they play, but they haven't exceeded my expectations yet. But I don't mean that like to discredit them either.
I think I kind of know what you mean. I don't think anybody's surprised to see that they can take it to a team like South Korea.
Yeah.
I think we're all waiting to see how they do against a team that's much more organized, like an Argentina, who they're going to end up running into, right? Who's the next in their path? It's going to be Croatia, though, right?
That game is going to be a good gauge because I don't think Croatia's going to lay down.
they're going to be well set up too. So I think you'll get a better picture against Croatia, but I totally agree with you. I wasn't too surprised that they could take it to a team like South Korea. Great story getting into the knockout stage, but this isn't a game where you look at that game and you're like, oh, this says a lot about Brazil.
Dave?
Right. I mean, kind of what you guys just both said. They're doing what they're expected to do. If you look at that attacking group, like they should be scoring 3-4 goals against South Korea. That should never come as a surprise. I will say though, Richarlison stepping up is not something that we all saw coming. I know
for sure.
in my college soccer group chat and also our chat, we're kind of talking about before he did what he did in the first game. We're like, this guy's like not that good. What is he doing? And then he scores another wonder goal today. It's like, okay, maybe he's really stepping up. He's been a different player up until this point for Brazil than he has for Tottenham. So I think that's a massive factor given that Jesus is out for the rest of the World Cup. With that being said, next game, Croatia, they made it to the final in the last World Cup. Very, very different team, but that midfield is still super strong. So if you're going to look for somewhere for Brazil to struggle, it's going to be against a Croatian midfield of Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. They're still probably going to win, but I don't think it's going to be that easy of a game. And it could be interesting tactically to see how the Brazilian midfield lines up against that very, very strong midfield with a lot of experience.
Sorry, Yanni.
No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Just a kind of a question to everybody here. Like, how do we think that three in midfield for Croatia is good for any national team? Honestly, Kovacic, one of the best eights in the world. Brozovic might be one of the best six. And then Modric is obviously, in my opinion, best midfielder in the world. How do you think that they stack up against a midfield two, if that's what Brazil is going to play again today, with Paqueta, who's more attacking minded, and then obviously Casemiro? I think they could get overpowered.
I think so too. I don't think they'll like walk through them. I think what Croatia has going for them and what I have seen that Brazil lacks is a little bit of grinta, a little bit of grit. I think Croatia is gonna really, they're not gonna lighten up on any of the challenges. They're gonna go after Neymar. Like they're gonna hurt them because otherwise they will get beat. Like that's what they have going for them as a team. I think in the midfield specifically, like obviously Casemiro is a rock and like probably the most informed defensive mid in the world. Like I've really been impressed with him. You could tell like when he plays versus when he doesn't play, that guy changes the team. And even like, yeah, I think even with Modric and those guys, it's not going to be easy for them to go through him. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm very curious to see how he sets up the team. If Tite changes anything for Brazil, I would be curious to see what he does with the midfield.
And dude, it was like, because when we were watching the game today, Danilo kind of moved into a mad central position, and it would be him and Casemiro with Paqueta going forward too. So
Right.
like that was it. It was almost like an attack. I know they said in the commentary, it was almost like an attacking five, which was wild to watch. But I want to go back to Croatia. I 100% agree with you guys. They are not going to lay down. They're going to give a fight. In my article that I've already predicted both the first two games, but obviously haven't got to Brazil and Croatia because it just happened today. That's what the matchup's going to be. And I'm going to say Brazil 2, Croatia 1. And I mean, that's my prediction. But I mean, you just think about the Croatian team. What a pair of cojones this man Zlatko Dalic has taken off Kovacic, and Modric, and Perisic all before extra time finished. That's insane. It's like imagine if that Japan shootout didn't go the way they planned. The criticism he would have got by taking off arguably his three best players. I mean, that's insane.
I agree with you, but you could tell Japan was gassed, right? And they knew that they could manage their way to the shootout at the worst case scenario and that they were going to win it. I mean, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but he looks like a genius now because Modric got a little extra rest heading into the next leg. But yeah, that was definitely interesting.
It's
surprising.
It's one of those things, dude, where it's like if they did lose though, that would come back and people would be like, "Why do you take him out?"
Mhm.
You know, it sounds good because it worked, but it's one of those things where if it didn't work just because of a couple penalties, then he's the biggest idiot.
I don't think they changed. Like I don't even remember who he brought on, but I don't think it made the difference in like them going to penalties. Like it just was like Matt said, like yeah, Modric got a little extra rest, but I don't know if the penalty shootout went a different way and whoever he put on missed a penalty, that guy was getting fired.
It was such an insane move to me at the time, but I mean, like Dave said, if it works, then it's a good story. It's like if you go for two only when games on the line from football, and it goes in, you're like, oh, look at this coach. He's analytic god. Doesn't work. You're like, what the hell are you doing? But
Yanni, you were surprised that I said Kovacic one of the best eights in the world. You don't agree?
I am. Listen, I think Kovacic is a very good player. Best 8 in the world category.
No, not best. One of the best.
Okay, so when you say one of the best, does that mean top 5, top 10?
He's
What
a
do you
top class midfielder. I don't see a lot of things that he can't do very well, dude, in the midfield.
Okay.
Like, what's his like biggest weaknesses? That's what I wonder.
Like I said, I think he's a great player. Me as a inner Chelsea hater, Liverpool
Yeah,
fan,
exactly. That's there you go.
no. But I'm thinking about that one season where he literally had 0 goal contributions, 0 assists. But that's my inner Chelsea hater. I think he's a great player.
Some injury issues, but yeah.
Would I call him a top 5, 8?
Top 5, I don't know if he gets in, but to me, he's a top class player, like top of the top class players.
Now I know this is kind of because I need to think right now. I don't even have any. But who would you not put Kovacic? Or who would you put under Kovacic? Who do you think is like not good enough to crack that seal? Because you look
like,
at. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can go. You can continue.
I'll throw out some names, and I want to see if you think Kovacic is better. Do you think Mateo Kovacic is better than Thiago?
No.
Okay.
No way.
That was me testing. That was me testing the waters. That was me.
Top class. Thiago's a world class player.
Okay.
Top class player is like just below that world class rung, in my opinion.
Okay.
This is where it's like we could spend a lot of time defining that, but either way, no, we're not as good as Thiago.
Okay. This because we haven't had this talk. We haven't had this like world class versus top class talk.
I know it's such a. I'm sorry to sidetrack us. It was such a separate.
No. This is great. This is good content. Now, my other question. I'll drop one more name in there. Do you put Mateo Kovacic over Rabiot?
Yeah. Not in this
100%.
Rabiot. This Rabiot's different. I don't.
Yeah,
really know
World
what's
Cup
going on.
Rabiot, maybe not. But
Yeah.
Even heading into the season, into the World Cup, he was unbelievable. But yeah, no, I put him ahead of Rabiot. Yes.
Okay. All right, boys. We'll wrap up the Croatia Brazil talk. But another good game today. Well, we already talked Croatia. Tomorrow there's 2 games. You guys know the homeland, Morocco, playing Spain, and then Dave's homeland as well, Portugal, Switzerland. Big games. Arguably, I think the hardest group in the whole World Cup was that Brazil group. Arguably, you could argue Portugal's group as well. I think those 2 are the top 2. How do you guys see tomorrow's games panning out? I'll let Dave go first. I think he talked the least in that last block.
I'm scared, honestly. There's one good thing. It's that Ronaldo did score a hat trick against Switzerland, and the UEFA Nations League final. I don't know if you remember that, but one of the best like hat tricks he's ever scored. Honestly, a free kick, like a great finish, and I think it was two great finishes of a cross and probably his best recent free kick that I can remember. Recent as in the last 3 years. That Switzerland team, dude, they're tough. As we know, they got cojones. They beat Brazil in the Euros. They took Spain to penalties, and I think it was Freuler. They got that red card against Spain, which seemed pretty harsh, but they were totally in that game. And to get that red and make it through to penalties and almost win on top of that, another guy who seems to turn up at these tournaments this summer. He's a tough guy to get by. With that being said, this Portugal team, there's so much talent. I still don't trust Santos. I don't know what he's going to do in terms of a lineup. I would stick with putting Dalot on the right, Cancelo on the left. I don't trust Guerrero right now. I don't know what he's going to do with Leao because, to me, that's still shocking that he's not starting. So I think we should go through with a win, but it's going to be, I think you predicted extra time. I really would not be surprised. And as of right now, I have to see a client at 3:30 with the game starting at 2. I'm probably going to miss the second half unless things change. So I'm just going to pray. But it would be nice if Ronaldo decided to show up as well. That's a big question mark after that last game.
Boys?
I will say that these 2 games were like my upset predictions, both of them. I think at least as far as potential goes, like obviously Portugal could totally win tomorrow, like 2-0. I'd be like, okay, like I wouldn't be surprised. But I also think Switzerland is gonna definitely play. I think that team is more or less the same team that, like Dave said, beat France at the last Euros. They got a solid group in terms of like how they play. Tactically, they're very sound. I really think that one of my underrated players of the tournament so far is their striker there, Mbolo. He has been very good. Like in the box, that guy is lethal. I know he was like a wonder kid a couple years ago. I don't know exactly how old he is now, but he definitely plays when it comes to Switzerland. And I think the Spain team is average. And I think Morocco is playing so well that I really think that Morocco can win tomorrow, like for sure.
First of all, Bril Mbolo, my FIFA 16 career mode goat. I would buy him in every single career mode. Shout out to Bril Mbolo, man. He's doing his thing in Mönchengladbach still, I think.
Yeah, he's still there.
Okay. So shout out to him. 2 goals this tournament. Love to see it. My old Liverpool legend, Mr. Cathcart himself. I thought he would drop off a little bit in level when he went to Chicago Fire, but he's coming into this tournament. He's still playing like the same Xherdan Shaqiri we all know. And apparently Switzerland owns Serbia. I mean, the last 2 tournaments, it's hilarious how they beat them and they always got the beef. Freaking Granit grabbing his nuts. The freaking Serbian bench was insane.
He's a problem too. Like in the midfield on his day, he's a destructor.
Yeah.
And he's spraying balls across the field. I'm like, this guy, like, he might struggle sometimes when it comes to Arsenal. Sometimes he has a top performance, but like on his day, he's really, really good.
And this year, he's been constantly on his day. It's insane.
He totally took over that last match. I remember last summer, or not this last summer, but the summer before that, Roma were in talks to bring him over, and it just like fell through over like 5-10 million euros or something. And that guy was the key to all our problems, I swear. Like that's all we need is someone to ping the ball around back there, someone solid. Like, but yeah, that last game, Xhaka was probably I don't know if he was man of the match, but anybody that watched the match, he was man of the match. He played very well.
I just admire how Switzerland has no problem taking it and being super aggressive against the biggest teams. Like go back to all these major tournaments, the big games that they played in. They scored 3 against France. They scored 3 against Spain in the quarterfinals of the Euro. And I'm referring also to the round of 16 of the Euro when the game they beat France in. They scored 3 against Serbia, and Serbia's defense stunk. But in the end of the day, I think it's the approach that Switzerland takes to the game. Like they'll go for it, and they're going to go for it against Portugal. So it'll be interesting. Portugal's a team that they might play too passive for the amount of attacking talent that they have. So I could see a scenario where Switzerland get up early and it forces Portugal to have to go for it. I think it's going to be a really good game. In the end, I do think Portugal is going to win. I think that they have enough talent this year that they are going to be able to fight and get to that quarterfinal game. But as for Spain, we kind of talked about this earlier, or at least I probably shouldn't keep saying that because it's like not like people have insight into our text messages. But Spain is a fugazi team. Like we've said it over and over again. We knew they'd regret not bringing a guy like Ramos, not bringing the experience that they had, a guy like Thiago. I think Morocco it's a classic example of big name team like Spain coming up against a team who's actually playing well in the tournament. I think Morocco has a great chance too.
Same situation as 2018. Russia came in super hot in that tournament. They come against a Spain team that was not that great, round of 16, and they come and they beat them in penalties. I don't think it'll go to penalties. I think Morocco wins 2-1 in 90 minutes. But yeah, that's my prediction. Just obviously, there's a little bit in there. It's obviously biased. What am I going to do?
I think you're right, man. I don't know. I got some weird feeling about this one.
But that's the thing, because I say that, but I didn't even pick Morocco to make it out the group stage. Like I had Belgium and Croatia going through, which was like, obviously looking back now, it's like, what the hell? And we've definitely, like you said, no one sees our group chat, but we've definitely talked about good man Kevin De Bruyne quite a bit in our chat, and we'll get to that too. How he, the Belgian team we'll talk disappointments later. But
you can say it. He dropped the stinker.
Yeah. To finish my thought, Serie A is putting on some talent in this freaking tournament, and he goes by the name of Sofiane Amrabat. He is an absolute dog. I love him. I told you boys, if we don't get Jude, which Please God, don't make that a reality. I want us to go full in on my Moroccan/Dutch goat. I freaking love this guy. He goes nose first in every tackle. He's pinging the ball across like granite. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. I love it. Ziyech, go to Milan. Leave that fraud club.
Finally, please.
And this is beautiful football. I love Morocco. The scenes, if we win tomorrow, my cousin has been sending me videos every time they win in the street. They're going crazy. I can't wait. We need to win. Let's go, boys.
And it's also a team on. Let me go real quick. Is like a team that plays like that right now. I think only Netherlands got 7 points in the group, and Morocco did it in a group where like even there people putting Canada above them. Like a team playing in that form against a team that's clearly ranked higher and is quote on paper the better team. Like what does Morocco have to lose at this point? They're playing with so much flair and excitement, and like those teams are the dangerous teams. All the pressure's on Spain, right? They didn't do well the last couple of tournaments as well as they should have. So it's like Morocco can just keep going, and if you go for it, which they will, who knows what's going to happen?
Matt?
I said my piece. They're going to win. I have a feeling Morocco is going to win this game. Like I said, it's one of those types of scenarios where if you look at the names, you're going to think that Spain's going to win. But if you look at how the teams are actually playing, Morocco is playing much, much better than Spain is. Spain, that first game, I don't really know how to explain it. It just kind of seemed like it was a little too easy. And the next two games have kind of shown that of them. So I feel like they'll win that game.
All right, boys, we've wrapped up our round of 16 talk. Let's get to the money. Let's get serious. Quarterfinals. We got our first two matchups locked in, and now we got our third one today. Argentina versus Netherlands. How do we feel? We'll go Massimo, Matt, Dave. So, Massimo, go ahead, brother.
Okay, I'm going to start with the one that I think is going to be the toughest to decide. I'm going to say the Argentina-Netherlands game. I feel like it's pretty 50-50. I don't think it's gonna be like it could like go 0-0 all the way to penalties, to be honest with you. I have no idea what's gonna happen in that game. I think Argentina will struggle with the Netherlands defense. I think the Netherlands are gonna struggle attacking Argentina. I think I don't know. It could be like a 1-0 game. So my prediction is gonna be 1-0 extra time to Argentina. That's what I'm gonna go with. And then what's the other game? The France-England game. Is that what you wanted to talk about? That one.
You want to go one by one, or are we going to do them all?
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, it's up to Yanni. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm only asking.
No, let's go. School. We'll do one by one because I want to give
good.
analysis.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say 1-0 then.
I'm in agreement. I don't think it's going to take extra time. I think Argentina are going to get a goal against the Netherlands. If you look at the Netherlands and how they scored against the United States, it was 3 unmarked players, 2 of them fullbacks. That's just bad defending. It's just a lack of organization from the U.S. So in the end of the day, Argentina is not going to be that disorganized. Actually, one of their only strengths is I think they are one of the more well-organized defensively sides in this World Cup. So I'd say 1-0 in this game. I think it'll be a tight game. Probably won't be too pretty. But Argentina are going to get it done.
I'm going to say 2-0 Argentina. I think, like you said, an early goal from them, and then I think Netherlands are going to push for it, and they're going to get another late goal. I don't like you said too with the U.S. game. Tactically, Van Gaal outclassed Berhalter, but like really, what is that saying? Berhalter, the only thing I can compliment him on is his kicks. That's about it. So. Yeah, they sat back. They didn't really need to attack against us, but every time they did, our defense was so disorganized that it was simple to kind of break that down if you're not going to cover a guy on the far post. Other than that, like what was really exciting about Netherlands, you could say defensively that they look solid. Dumfries had a great game. Timber looks pretty good. Van Dijk looks good. Even the old man Blind is scoring. But Argentina are the much better team, in my opinion. And I think they're starting to figure out, even though they didn't look great against Australia, as long as they don't start Lautaro, which I don't know why they would, because if we're talking about guys who are having a great World Cup from Syria, we also have to mention how horrible he's looked. And I thought that would be a big part if he could play well and then winning the tournament. It just seems like Alvarez is a step ahead right now.
Boys, you all three have gone a direction that I'm not going. I'm going Netherlands 2-1, and here is why. Okay. Argentina, while they do have arguably the greatest player of all time, they really I'm gonna get on like if we were big, this would get on like TikTok clips of like, oh, he's a hater, he doesn't know ball. But like I don't know if Argentina have really looked that convincing to me at any time in this tournament. And Netherlands, if you don't count that crazy fucking Haji right flick, they've only conceded 1 goal this whole tournament. Just one. They scored, I think, let's look here. They scored 5. They haven't lost a game. They were okay, it was Qatar in the group. I get that. Ecuador is pretty solid, and Senegal as well. They obviously, Dumfries on the attack is insanity. He's looked in great this tournament. Argentina, if they start Otamendi and Romero, I think this game goes 2-1 Netherlands. It just depends on what I think Netherlands will start up top because they've been mixing in Gakpo Depay, Gakpo Bergwijn. I don't know. I like Depay. I like Gakpo as well. Bergwijn is okay, but I think just the defensive prowess of that back three, which has been so solid, man. I'm going for kind of the upset pick here. Louis van Gaal against the semifinal. Go Netherlands 2, Argentina 1.
But Van Dijk brace.
Van Dijk race would be the most Liverpool take of all time. He's got very close on some headers from corners, but I wouldn't say a brace. That'd be kind of
Well,
brazy.
I'll be honest though, they are very dangerous in the air, and that was something that I feared with the U.S. You know, those guys are monsters.
And Argentina,
The Argentina team is not very big. That's
Yep.
true.
No, not at all. So there'll be a threat on set pieces for sure.
All right, Matt, go ahead. I saw you were gonna say something.
All I was going to say is I don't disagree with you that Argentina haven't looked too convincing throughout the tournament. I just feel like it's one of those types of situations, unfortunately, where they have a lot of momentum going for them, and their whole team knows it too. I think a lot of people are pulling for them. Even neutrals are really pulling for them. People can say that stuff doesn't matter. Yes, it definitely does. I also think that if you look at the players that they have on their squad, they have a lot of defensively minded players. Like that midfield it kind of looks like a bunch of hacks, if we're being honest. But the reason why it works is because they're pretty well set up. That coach is kind of an idiot, but they do look pretty organized. I do think it's going to be a tough defensive game, but 1-0, I can't see who scores from the Netherlands is my main point.
Okay. Please, for the love of God, stop playing that messy bodyguard merchant, DePaul.
That's got to stop.
Yeah, it's got to stop. He's had a shocker of a tournament.
Yeah, he's
Why
been
is he
pretty
so
rough.
bad? It's like simple things he looks like he's overthinking.
Lord knows. Play by this.
Yeah, I honestly don't disagree with that. I don't know if you're joking or not, but I do think Parada should probably play. I think now it's too late. He should have already experimented, which is why it's like I think it's like everyone in the group chat knows how I feel about him not playing Dybala even as a sub. I think that's ridiculous. I don't understand why. That's just the guy he's replacing with McAllister has been okay, but I don't understand why Dybala doesn't come on in like the 70th minute.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, I was just gonna say that like on paper, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I think that this Argentina team is better than the Argentina team in 2014 overall. I think
100%.
Yeah. In 2014, they had much better and more informed attackers, but the rest of the team was nothing. Like if you the team is more spread out now, better defenders. They went on that great. They almost beat the Italy unbeaten record. I don't think they did because they lost to Saudi Arabia, but they were like undefeated for like almost like 50 games or something. Yeah. I don't know, like 37 games or something.
36. Yeah, it would have been. It would have tied the record if they beat Saudi Arabia, and they would have went on to beat it if they beat Mexico and Poland like they did.
Yeah, so I think like the team is definitely there. I don't agree with a lot of these coaches' tactics. They're very easy to read, and I think they completely rely on the creativity of like their like Di Maria and Messi. Like if Di Maria and Messi are not performing, then this team has serious problems. That's why if I had to predict where the goal is coming from, I'm gonna say a set piece goal for Argentina to win it because I think they're gonna have trouble unlocking the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm. And also, talk about more about Dybala, who's first of all for several years was Juventus' best player. Even when Cristiano was there, I thought he was the better player, but for some years. But it's not just this tournament, Massimo. This Argentina, like in general, have disrespected Dybala to the maximum degree. They've never played him in like a major game in any tournament. It's like what are you doing? You have an insanely talented player. I don't care. Just give him 20 minutes. Like, I don't understand why he's not on the pitch. And it's not just this one. I would say, like, oh, he's coming off the injury. You never know. But it's been every tournament that he doesn't see the fucking field. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think there's the long time rumor, I guess, that I don't think it's that Messi doesn't like him, but people say that him and Messi can't play together. I don't think that I don't know like how much basis there is to that, considering like they've barely ever played together. So how can we even say that? So it just seems ridiculous. And if that's really the case, put Messi on one side of the field, Dybala on the other side of the field. Then you have Messi and then mini Messi. Like, Dybala does things that Messi
it's a lazy
can't do.
narrative. It's a very lazy narrative. It's like, how are you going to play like an old Papu Gomez over him too? Like, there's so many guys that like I wouldn't play over Dybala.
That's a great point that Dave brings up. Like the alternative players that he's putting on that aren't Dybala, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like McAllister, Papu Gomez is like, ready to hang up the boots. It's almost done for him. I didn't see him do anything interesting. Like, obviously he was a good player at a time, but that's not anymore.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
And
I thought that was crazy too that they didn't play Dybala over Papu Gomez. Come on.
Yep.
And Dave and I specifically know how it feels to have a bullshit narrative go around that two people can't play together, aka Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Remember when that was a thing?
Oh my god! Well, for way too long, like, and it still would have been a thing if we somehow didn't make the finals. But that's a whole different podcast, like you said.
Yeah, we gotta get a Celtics podcast, boys. That's our Argentina Netherlands picks. We got about 5 minutes till this Zoom ends. I'll start a new one, of course, but France, England, if we can wrap that up in like 4.5 minutes, how do we feel? We'll go opposite side now. We'll go Dave, Matt, and then Massimo, because I want to hear Dave talk about this for sure.
Yeah, it's not coming home. There's no way. Hey, come on, let's be real. What Mbappe did yesterday was just like incredible, and I don't really see. I don't know. I guess it was fun to see Kyle Walker go against Mbappe for the pace, because Kyle Walker, when he was healthy and like, was that 2 years ago maybe, that was like a very exciting matchup. But it's like, okay, you can deal with him, you can deal with Teo too. That's not gonna be fun for any right side. Giroud's in form. Their chemistry's insane. Griezmann's back now. Like, he's back to the French Griezmann, not the Barcelona flop. Like, he's spraying balls. Dembele, I can't believe he hasn't scored yet, has he, this tournament?
No, he's assisted though. Yeah,
he's assisted. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I'm waiting for him to score, because like he's still equally like as dangerous as any winger in the world when he's playing like that. Rabiot playing well. Tchouaméni's been one of the best midfielders at the tournament. That whole team. They have so many options at center back. You don't even know who to start. Like your favorite Konate is not even really playing, because Upamecano's in there, Varane's in there, Koundé. Lloris is still a solid goalie, and like England won 3-0 against Senegal, but nothing about that performance was too exciting, except the fact that they finished their chances. But can you imagine them sitting back against this French team with Mbappe having that freedom to just go at Kyle Walker or anyone like all game long? Southgate doesn't like to attack. He plays scared. How do they end up beating this French team? I just don't see it. For a score, I could see like a 3-1 France.
Matt?
I was inclined to go with the exact same score line, but I'm going to say 2-1. They win. Look, like, just visualize that French attack going against those English defenders. Like, I've had a few people try and tell me that England has a legit defense this year. I don't see it. They haven't been tested at all. Scoring 3 past Senegal isn't a great accomplishment. Their group stage and the success they had, it's not a great accomplishment. They played terribly against the United States, and you could argue it didn't really matter. But in the end of the day, what have they proven? To me, proving something means you're actually doing something great and challenging against a good team. So the people coming into this game and saying like everyone should be afraid of what England can do, like, I'm not really seeing that. I think the midfield battle will be interesting, because I don't think Bellingham's going to be able to do it alone in this game. Tchouaméni and Rabiot are going to take the ball from those guys as often as they can. That's going to be their job. And then Griezmann will be the connector, and that attack can kind of do the rest. I think France is going to find a way to create a lot of chances, end up winning 2-1. England will get one.
Massimo?
I think I wouldn't have said it at the start of the tournament, just given the Benzema injury, the Nkunku injury, and kind of everything that was going on with them. No Pogba, no Conte. But I will say the only team where I can like say, okay, I've been really impressed overall with how they play is France. Like by far, I think they've been very, very, very solid. And I think, like Matt said, this English team. I'm not like an England hater, but I think that they will struggle with this French team. I just don't see how Southgate, well, he never changes his tactics. He puts the same kind of lineups out. I think even without the personal issue, maybe Sterling even started over Foden the last game. Like I don't know if that was a choice by him, tactically or just given the situation. I'm gonna say France 2-0. I don't think, and I think they'll go up early. I think both goals can come in before halftime. I don't see England being able to come back once being down. So if they concede first, I think it's over.
All right. So I'm going to say my piece on this, but boys, we're out of time on the first Zoom. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere for ones that are watching on YouTube.